Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Real Podcast. I'm your host, David Moya, and today we have a special guest, Nicolai Glazer, based out of Newport, Orange County. Nicolai, thank you for being on the show today.
Thanks for having me, David. I'm stoked to be here.
So you and I met at the kickoff event in January, I believe, for Sotheby's and Pacific Sotheby's International Realty, and super cool guy. You let me interview you. It was really cool conversation. And we've been in touch since then, but I recently saw some cool stuff that you're doing within your community, really helping out business owners, starting a virtual food drive and other cool stuff. Now, I want to dive into that, but before we get into that, I'd love to get just a little quick history about who you are, how long you've been in real estate, like what's your passion behind what you do, just so people who may not know who you are can get to know you a little bit better.
Yeah, cool. Who am I and why did I get into real estate? So with the Newport Beach Pacific Sotheby's office, and been in that office for about a year and a half. I was previously with Berkshire Hathaway for a little over 10 years. I got into real estate because when I bought my first house, first-time home buyer, I didn't know what I was doing, and it was a very awkward experience, and I found myself working with somebody that I didn't trust.
Okay.
And, you know, it was just one of those things where, and it only kind of kicked into me a few years later where I decided, okay, I'm going to get my real estate license, and I'm going to figure out what this is all about, because getting your license has nothing to do with actually practicing and being a professional. So I really, I had a first-time homebuyer consultation about an hour ago, and I just get so excited when I talk to first-time homebuyers, just buyers in general, about, counseling them on the process and just the understanding of what it takes and, the timelines and the contracts and everything that goes into it. It just gets me really excited. I like to use the terminology of management of expectations, and if everybody's expectations are properly managed, then nobody gets excited, nobody gets upset. And that's why I got into this business. And, over the years, it's just, it's grown. It's grown, and I love the business. I love the contracts. I love the negotiations. I love working with not just other agents, but I just love working with the buyers and sellers and providing a great service. That's the fun part to me, is working with people and doing good.
So would you say it's just kind of like you're an advisor and you're bringing them and then taking them through that process and seeing like the before and the after and just taking them from where they were to where they want to be?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, if you go to our website, it doesn't say Nicolai Glazer Realtor. It says Nicolai Glazer Real Estate Advisor, and that's the conversation. Mm-hmm. We are professional real estate advisors. And in some sense, we should really have, degrees in law, because the contracts and the understanding of what we're saying, how we say it, and how we communicate with people is really important.
Yeah, I can see that. I definitely can see that. And in that process of, taking a client and that's your passion, what have you seen and what have you found to be, almost like revolutionary for you in a sense of like, in all these years I've been able to acquire this type of knowledge and wisdom. And now for me, it's a little bit different than when I first started, right? The passion is still there, right? So that doesn't change and probably even grows. But like, are you seeing that, the home buyers then are different now, and how's that?
You know what? I'll simplify this for you, David. It's about keeping it real.
Yes.
Just keep it real, be yourself. I think, too often people get into this business and they think they need to act a certain way or
Sure.
be a certain way. Listen, be amazing in what you do, study your craft, and be real with your clients. Be honest, be real, be human. And I think, listen, I'm not going to say it's a lost art, but, the simplicity for us to just be who we are. I mean, look at me. I mean, I've got my quarantine beard going on, and my hair hasn't probably been this long for 25 years, but Well, it was a lot longer then, but I'm just saying, it's like, this is, be real, just be
Yeah.
yourself, be that professional advisor.
Mhm.
And, it's not about making the sale. I'm
Yeah.
not in this business to sell property. I know
Mhm.
that might sound contrary to people that are like, I'm new in this business. I want to sell something. I want a commission. No, if you're good at what you do and you properly, professionally advise people on
Mhm.
how to make certain decisions and guide them through the process,
Right.
that transaction will happen. But I'm happy to say that 75% of my business year over year is built on referrals and
Mhm.
repeat clients, and
Mhm.
that's where I hang my hat on that.
Yeah. And you said you've been in the business for how long?
I'm in my, forgive me, 12th year.
Got it. Okay. And always in Orange County, or did you move from?
I was fortunate enough to grow up in Corona Del Mar.
Nice.
I
Okay.
currently live in Newport, West Newport, and so to do my business in that coastal Orange County region, this is my backyard. I love it here. Yeah.
Now, like Orange County, obviously high, like top, like luxury, right? Synonymous with luxury, I think, and high end stuff and high end lifestyle. Um, it seems like the way you advise, the way you provide your services really transcends all, like whether it's luxury or not. I mean, you're able to touch people at different price points. It sounds like.
Well, and as with every profession, and as being a professional, you need to be adaptable, right?
Mhm.
In one sense, you need to find your tribe, and you need to find those people that you're going to click with and that are going to know you, like you, and trust you and want to work with you, and vice versa. But being able to adjust, working with a different type of clientele is really important. And it's not easy for everybody. A lot of people stay on a single track when it comes to who their clientele is and what that vibe is. But no, I'm happy to say that I'm able to work with a variety of different personalities.
Yeah, and I guess that goes without saying, but the reason I brought that up, is because like your approach, I feel like is resonates with that certain type of tribe, like you're saying, right? And so if you're able to um, connect with the actual person, right, and lead them through that process, like we talked about earlier, then you're providing a service that is unique because it's unique in how you do it, like as an individual.
Yeah,
I'm with you. A lot of times, we all try to sell, even video production companies or coaching companies. You're trying to sell a product versus like seeing the community and saying, okay, how can I be of help? How can I help level up, everybody, as many people that are open to it.
yeah,
And which is why I felt like you and I resonated really well, because you're very honest, you're transparent, you're like a very authentic person, and you bring that to your business, and you're doing a lot of that stuff right now, which caught my attention,
yeah.
because even though you're busy and you're doing your real estate services, you're also you're going above that right now, and you're doing some pretty cool stuff. And so, let's talk about that if we could. And if we go back and forth, that's cool. I'm really just about going with the flow. But I
Yeah.
thought some of the cool things that you're doing right now, I saw that you're doing a virtual food drive. Just yesterday, you and your team helped a local business, Tide Pools, deliver food to Hogue. How does that all like fit into what you're doing right now?
Yeah, so let me talk about the virtual food drive, if you will. We already do what we call our annual holiday food drive. So we do a holiday food drive between Thanksgiving and Christmas every year. And
Wow.
we've already done it 5 years. So it's been amazing. Basically, what we've done in the past is Mother's Market, one of our local markets here in Orange County. They donate the paper bags. We put our little instruction sheet on the bag, and we distribute them out to the community. We're door dropping these bags. And last holidays, I want to say we dropped 3,000 bags throughout the community. on the instructions. We get emails, phone calls, and we go pick up, collect the bags, and then we donate all that through the Second Harvest Food Bank, which is part of Feeding America. They are the largest food bank in Orange County. I think there's different arms of those food banks in different counties as well, but they support, I think it's something in the range of about 320 smaller food banks throughout the county. So they're the mothership. So we've always donated through them with it, and it's been super successful. We love it. It keeps us engaged in the community, and it's our opportunity to give back. So full circle, our planet got invaded by aliens about 6 weeks ago.
Yes.
In the form of this pandemic that none of us have ever, we didn't know what to do. And it was one of those things. I'm talking with my team, and it was like, hey, let's do a non-holiday food drive. And it's like, okay, well, do we go get bags? Do we drop them at the doorstep? What do we do? Anyway, long story short, we figured out we had an opportunity to do a virtual food drive, which I'd never heard of before, to be honest with you.
When I read your Instagram page, I was like, this is cool. I want to find out more about what he's doing.
It's really cool. You go to the link, and on the link, you can either donate a direct dollar amount, or you can actually go grocery shopping. You can pick. You can go grocery shopping. You can pick foods, and because of the buying power of the food bank, every $1 that's donated equals 3 meals. So it's pretty powerful. I wrote down here that to date, and we're doing this for the month of April, which is set to expire on April 30th. But we've donated 14,555 meals so far this month.
Wow.
And so we're going to, finish strong here. I'll give you the website real quick in case anybody's listening and wants to go there. But it's yourfooddrive.org, and that's under Second Harvest Food Bank. You can virtual food drives. You can see Nicolai Glazer Real Estate Group on there, and you can go straight to our donation page.
Nicolai, give it to me one more time. I'll put it down there in the yourfooddrive.org. That's the main page under Second Harvest Food Bank. So thanks for putting that up, David. I appreciate it. So anyway, that's, we started this virtual food drive, and it's been really fun because we've had great conversations with people in the community that are just really supporting. There it is. Really supporting what we do. So there's a drop down on that yourfooddrive.org to look at the virtual food drives and then see us on there. And then also what we did is, there's been so much support for our first responders. So understanding how do we support those people that have been overwhelmed in the hospitals and the ICU units and the emergency units. Fortunately, we're not dealing here with the same type of issues that they're dealing with in some of the other areas that are much harder hit. But still, these guys are under stress, and I think there's been a lot of donations toward those groups. You see it on the news, no matter what news channel people are sending in meals. So what we did actually is, we wanted to send a little love to some of, not the forgotten soldiers, but the delivery unit. So this is what do they call themselves? The labor and delivery unit. So Hoag Hospital is just down the street over here. And, there's essentially 30 people in this unit that are delivering all the babies, right? And, they're under a lot of the same stresses as everybody else, just dealing with it in a different way. So we sent lunch to them. Yeah. Good. So nice.
Yeah.
So nice. That's admirable. I really appreciate you doing that. And I know that obviously you being a part of that, actually creating that, rather not even being a part of it, you being a catalyst to create that type of, impactful movement for them. That was awesome. I'm sure I saw some pictures on your Instagram while there, and such a touching thing to do. Now, in terms of Tide Pools, which is a local company that you guys, I guess you just chose them.
I was gonna say, it's it's a team effort here. So first of all, Tide Pools is a local delicatessen. They do pizza and sandwiches, and they're just on the street. So it's an opportunity for us to support a local business and they get the business. It helps their bottom line, and it's a collective effort. But part of that team effort is this idea came from a couple of the gals on my team too. So kudos to them for coming up with it. And then within that local neighborhood, which just happens to be the Newport Shores neighborhood here in Newport Beach, there was a whole bunch of kids in the neighborhood that made little notes and cards that got sent with the meals, for all the nurses and doctors there, which was really cool.
Yeah.
Just good vibes all the way around.
Nice.
Yeah.
That I didn't know about that. So you got local community, like your neighbors, whatnot, to go ahead.
Kids.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, I got everybody involved.
So how many letters were written?
I don't know the exact number, but it was a couple dozen.
Dude, that is so cool.
Yeah.
I love that. And how are you? I know we talked a little bit about this offline, but how are you supporting local business? How are you seeing a need for that even within your community? And maybe this can be like a brainstorming session too, but just what are you seeing right now with your local, like you said, the local deli there, local businesses? How's everybody doing? I'm sure everybody could use any type of help right now, but what are you seeing right now? And maybe do you see any opportunities?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think we're all challenged with how we answer that question, because we've got this stay-at-home order, this quarantine order. I mean, my oven's been used more in the last month. There's been more home cooking going on, and I've got a fridge full of leftovers right now. It's just one of those things where it's like, how do we manage both sides of this conversation, stay home but still support the local restaurants and whatnot? So, we're being, we're definitely putting an effort in to do takeout, at least a couple days a week to keep, that support going. But everybody's struggling, man. This is tough times for everybody.
Right. And then your team was all involved in this social effort here, this effort to help local businesses and give back to first responders. Like, talk to me a little bit about your team. Like, what is your team comprised of? How many people? Like, how did you bring them on? How did you choose them? Right? It's a loaded question, but start wherever you'd like.
Yeah, loaded question for sure. And if I'm looking at your screen, if everybody else can see your screen, that's me and my team right there. So, there's 6 of us, and building a team is the toughest thing, not only building a team, but building a team that's going to stay together, for longevity. And, the age-old conversations of people getting on a team and, wanting more, like there's got to be some kind of something that's going to magically fall from the sky in their lap. And, my style of business and my style of life in general is you go and do. You pull yourself out of bed in the morning and you do what you need to do. You put your own boots on and you get to work. And, I'd like to instill that, and I have instilled that with my team, ultimately that this is a tough business. If I'm going to sit down and interview you, David, and you say, Nicolai, I want to join your team. I've been following you. I've been watching you. I want to join your team. I'm going to try and talk you out of it 10 times.
Wow. Okay.
Because this business is not for everybody. And on the 11th time, you're like, no, Nicolai, I really want to be your team. I've got the work ethic. I'm ready to go. It's like, okay, now let's talk meat and potatoes and how we can piece this together. Because I think there's a lot of people that are like, oh, I'm so passionate about houses. I'm so passionate about real estate. It's like, that's all well and fine. It's like, go play in the garden and, grow some flowers or whatever. But, that's not going to do business. That's not going to turn you into a professional real estate advisor. And that's not going to give you the opportunity to be successful in this business. Being nice or good looking ain't going to get it done. You got to have something going on, and there's got to be some substance behind that. So, I'm kind of going like big broad view on all this right here, but no, you got to know what you're doing. And that's one thing that I have ingrained in my team. And I'm just looking at that photo while we're talking. It's like, this is my team. I mean, these guys, they're all very loyal, and they've been with me since the day they started, essentially. And it's an ongoing education.
Apparently, you said you can't just be good looking and nice to do it, but I guess it looks like you only hire good looking people here.
It helps. It helps.
That's awesome. So you have, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, including yourself.
Yeah.
And you have like a combination of buyer specialists, listing specialists, or is just everybody a specialist and really saying you guys just go at it as a team?
It's and again, so Reed, who's the other male in the photo there, he's my right hand. So he's basically my team operations. He handles all my marketing and all my right hand activities. And then with the girls, there's a combination of talent there. We've got Amelie with the blonde hair. She's got a background in property management and vacation rentals. So there's just, there's a good collaboration in there, but at the end of the day, it's not a specific buyer's agent, listing agent activities. Everybody's, it's kind of like, go figure out how to build your own business. I think the best way that I've advised these guys since the beginning is when you're new in the business, especially, build your business on leases. Really, I mean, it's such a powerful way to get started.
Interesting. Maybe you don't want to go that direction right now, but I'd love to hear that strategy sometime in the future, because that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So, kind of if you were able to talk to another agent right now who you're just saying, hey, they came to you and they said, hey, peer to peer, can you just give me some advice? Like, how are you dealing with this current situation, current crisis, and what should I do? What should my goal be? I think a lot of times, like myself, I will say one of the biggest challenges right now is I'm at home. I can be with my daughters a lot more.
Yeah.
But I also know that there's a great opportunity right now for me to be more active, because I can be a helper. I can be someone, to change, to create change, to like what you're doing is awesome. And for me, that's kind of been my calling, is to help let other people know what these leaders are doing, like yourself, and say, hey, we need to get more people to do this type of initiative. So if an agent was coming to you, whether they're seasoned or not, and they're saying, how are you dealing with this crisis? Do you have any advice? Do you have any advice that you would give them?
Yeah, for sure. And obviously, with agents, depending on where they are within their careers or areas, everything's going to kind of act and feel a little bit differently, but you got to stay active. You got to stay active. You got to stay busy. I've actually, when our planet got invaded by aliens 6 weeks ago, as I say, like everybody just kind of stopped, like, what's happening, what's going on, and that's if you weren't standing in line at the grocery store for toilet paper, but, like, what the heck is going on? So right. I think within that first 2-3 week period, obviously maintaining communications with my existing pipeline and clientele, but really focusing on the foundational side of my business, really looking at where our cost basis are, our operational costs on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, and just drilling down into the minute data of business operations was really important for me. So, I think you need to have a strong business structure. I think there's so much in this business of throw it against the wall and see what sticks. And, guess what happens? You do a lot of throwing and not a lot of sticking when you do that. So I think when you have a plan, it's, the plan changed 6 weeks ago, right? So if you had a business plan for 2020, throw it out the window, and let's start over again. But, starting with a good foundation, it's like building a house. You got to have a strong foundation and then just build strong walls and a strong roof and just, as such. But you got to stay busy. You got to stay active. Continue to communicate. We are, as I say, that professional real estate advisor. Communicate with your clients and let them know that you're here to advise them, because you're following all the data, what's going on with the national economic news and your local market data, right? So we are the source. That's what makes us professionals. That's what makes us, successful within our marketplaces. So understanding, we got to know what's going on, in our markets, in our farms. who else are they going to call, right? And if they're going to call you or you're going to call them and you don't know that information, you're out, So this is a time to, sink or swim.
And how are you staying in touch with your clientele? Like, I mean, I'm sure there's a variety of ways that you're doing that, but
For sure. Yeah, look, you and I are doing a video presentation right now, and I know we've all completely OD'd on, Zoom conferences and GoToMeetings and
right.
virtual everything. I've done, just like my oven's gotten abused in the last month, I think all these virtual tours have gotten virtual. I said virtual tours, but these virtual meetings have gotten beat up over the last month too. I've done more in the last month than I've done in my whole career. But that's part of this change and the understanding of the new era. So while I might not be having communications with all my clients like this, I am using BombBomb, sending little text videos. I'm sending them via email, calling people. Hey, guess what? This thing works as a telephone. And I think it really is a telephone, and people have turned this into a camera and a texting machine and a social media portal.
Sure.
And I think people forget, and I'm a little bit more old school, even though I don't think I'm that old, but pick up the phone, call me, dial somebody.
I mean, what do you think? I feel like the car is the perfect place for calls. I mean, for me, I'm like, I can make so many more calls just driving around.
Well, you got kids at home. That's why you're in the car.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. I got a couple dogs laying around me right here, but they're good. Unless somebody's chomping on a bone, you ain't gonna hear them.
That's awesome. Well, that's cool. So, and what do you feel like your business? How do you feel that that's kind of shifted now, or maybe that's you're not even clear yet, right? We might not even be in a position where we can say, I have some clarity now in terms of how I'm going to proceed in 2020. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? How are you dealing with that?
Yeah, listen, at the end of the day, we're in this business, selling homes, right?
Right.
That's what we do. And I'm primarily a listing agent first. So, where are the listings and when are we going to market with those properties? So understanding where those clients are in the pipeline, advising them. I think you need to have a compelling conversation, a compelling sales pitch with that property. And it's either going to be something super sexy with the property or it's going to be the price. And if you're lucky, you get both, right? So if I'm talking to people, it's like, I'm leaving after we do this thing and I'm going to do, set up for a photo shoot over at a new listing we're going to put on the market later this week that, I got that call out of the blue last week, super excited about it. And, you walk in with that proposition. Are you a compelling price or are you a compelling property? And this one is both. And I'm super excited to put that one on the market, but we put one on the market last week. I have another one where these sellers are like, hey, we want to go to market. And I'm like, not right now. Cool property, but the price isn't compelling. Like there isn't a match up there. So I think that's, our professionalism needs to come in play right now to be able to advise our clients like, hey, pump the brakes, let's just find the right timing in the market to bring your property to market, or we need to adjust our price, or it's got to have that compelling sales component to it. So, case by case, really, with every property. I don't know if I answered your question clearly or not.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. That's cool. Thank you for diving into that. I appreciate that. Well, Nicolai, I know you got to go take off and get into that listing, so I appreciate your time.
You kicking me off, David? What? You said this was going to be a 2-hour meeting. No, I'm just teasing.
Hey, man, I'm down to have you on here as long as you need, man. I feel like you have. Look, there's so many times you're talking. I'm like, we can dive into that for like another 20 minutes. We can, but it's like, I know you got a ship to steer there and a team to lead. So I don't want to take too much of your time, but I do really want to say I appreciate your time, and I'd love to have you back on so we could talk about some maybe the other things that you're doing that since you're a giver, it's like, hey, how you can help the next generation that's coming in to do real estate. It's like, I think you can add a ton of knowledge to them. So I appreciate that. Would love to have you back on.
No, I'd love to, and thanks for having me. And I don't know, depending on where we post this, but if anybody's watching me, you should be watching him. Watch David Moya and his daily posts that he's doing because you're motivational. I appreciate your vibe and your leadership. So thanks for having me on, and I really appreciate your time.
Thank you, Nicolai. I appreciate that. I love that little plug for me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Right on, brother. Thanks so much.
Hey, cheers. Have a good day and stay safe out there.
You too. I'll see you soon.
Okay, now. Bye-bye.